Good morning, everybody. Welcome to podcast 47, The Power of Making a Decision Without Having All the Pieces Laid Out. In a world where we have little control of a lot of things, it's that much more critical for us to identify areas where we can use our decision-making powers to bring about the outcomes we most desire. Again, greetings this first Monday in November, and welcome to all of anyone who is new and any of you returning folks. Again, this is the Karen Smith Frazier podcast, and I am Karen Smith Frazier, and I help middle-aged women and men learn what it takes to befriend their fear and go after their goals without compromising their values or feeling too guilty about it. As a professional nurse for several decades, it was easy to fall into a pattern of complacency in regards to my dreams. I was good at my job, but I had grown over the years and it just wasn't as fulfilling as it had been in the beginning of my career. I felt that uncomfortable feeling of knowing there was more for a few years and took the easy route, avoided making any changes, really avoided deciding for myself. Has anybody had that feeling? But as life would have it, the choice came to me instead. After a car accident that left me with a concussion and weeks off from work, I was gifted with the time to make a decision that would propel my life in a different direction. I'm a life coach, and I get to walk alongside folks who know that they want more out of life and have decided to take manageable actions and self-care to regain a sense of control over the direction of their lives. So for me, I did not have all the pieces in place when I went for it. I did, however, have family and community support and a mentor. So I've got a question for you. Do you remember that time when you were at a crossroads in life? You had to make choices between two or more options. Take a moment to think of one. And it can literally be a crossroads, like on a street where you aren't sure whether to go right or left. You got something in mind? Okay. Do you remember which way you went? What you ended up choosing? Do you remember why you chose it? Was it a vibe, a gut feeling, look familiar? Don't say it was a GPS issue. Thanks for sharing. Your decision had consequences too, right? If driving you got to your destination, or you just got lost, or maybe found a new route. Now, this podcast isn't about learning about reading a map, but the example is one I wanted to use to illustrate that first, you have the power to make a decision, and second, you have the power to follow through on a decision. When faced with decisions where information is unfolding, consider these actions that may improve your ability to make the best choice in that moment. First, recognize that you do not and will not have all the information. As much as we would like, in many occasions, it would be great to have all the information about the topic to make an informed decision. But the reality is, we must recognize that uncertainty is part of the decision-making process. And most of us cannot see into the future. I'm not going to say none of us can. This is when using past experiences and outcomes of similar decisions can come into play. If things went well last time, your gaze will be skewed in that way. You'll kind of have some positive feelings. But if you got burned by going the other direction, that one won't feel like you're being called to it. Keep in mind that all of this is data. All of this is information that will help you in future decision making. Reality is, we know past decisions don't necessarily clear the pathway for similar future ones, but use the data, the feedback from last time. Seems like a simple concept, but how often do we ignore the feedback? do what the crowd is telling us to do or what they're doing when we know that what everybody else is doing is not our thing and will not serve us best. Second, take a moment to notice. Take a moment to notice what's going on in two important places: your mind, also known as your thoughts and emotions, and in the environment when you have to make the decision. Are you in a cluttered space? Are you running late? Do you feel sick? There are certain days when I've seen I'm rushed, I'm busy or distracted. And my husband would say to me, babe, you might not want to make any big decisions today, okay? And in the beginning of our marriage, I felt a little insulted. What do you mean I don't? But later on, I realized that that advice paid off. So, one tool I started using was asking myself why questions. Asking why helped me clarify my motive for taking a certain decision, as well as helping me see how this decision served me best in the moment and especially in the long term. This self assessment saved me in relationships because it gave me a moment to check in with my emotions. Am I angry? Am I scared, lost, frustrated, hungry? These emotions are way too wishy-washy to depend on. So asking and answering the why gave me a second chance to make a better decision. So in my driving analogy of coming to the fork in the road, this would be the stop, pull over, take a deep breath, and listen moment. After that, with more info in hand, what decision makes the most sense? And finally, stay informed. When possible, do your research, plan ahead, and with whatever information you have, make the most informed decision you can with what you've got. Granted, split-second decisions don't allow much time for this and usually are a response to a risk you have to deal with right away. The car is swerving toward you on the left. Well, get out of the way, go right. But most decisions are not split-second decisions. Quick decisions aren't all bad decisions, but they can be careless and cause more harm, especially if you don't know your why. So figure out your why. Can you visualize what you want? How do you feel about the direction you're leaning toward? And what is it about that isn't drawing you in? These are just some things to consider. These are clues. Some may call it your gut, intuition, or a feeling that one choice has more electricity than the other. Trusting your gut while ignoring facts, however, can also be seen as ego-driven. So be careful. People's opinions are data and can be considered, but ultimately the answer lies within you already. So, in summary, the power of making a decision without having all the pieces laid out is the most common kind of decision you are going to make. Waiting for every piece, every scenario, and each step is a great stalling mechanism to many a dream. You are created to create. Awareness of your mood or emotional state, the information in hand, results of similar decisions, new information, and the motivation to go for it in spite of fear of the unknown is what I'd call a decision worth your energy and attention. So, as we begin a new month together, check in with yourself. Take some time for that self-assessment to see if you're ready to take a step in a new direction that brings more life and possibilities. This is an exciting time. We have this new day to take a step forward. Now, if you got value from this podcast, please put a V in the chat. And if you want to talk a bit about what life coaching is about, I have set aside some time on my calendar to meet via Zoom for 15 to 20 minutes. You can DM me and I will send you a calendar link. And keep a lookout for my masterclass this month. No worries if you missed the last one. There'll be something in there for you to start narrowing down the perfect dream for yourself. And for those who did attend, yep, we're still working on that dream thing. I'm not letting it go. In the meantime, I invite you, as always, to unleash your brilliance, uncover your light. The world is waiting for you. Have a great day, everybody.